All right, welcome everyone to Santa Rita Union School District meeting, January 24th. Today being held at 5 p.m. at Santa Rita Elementary School, which is nice. I like the idea that we get out to the sites and be amongst our staff and our parents. So thank you for the board members for assembling here. Having said that, I hereby call the meeting into order. I will go ahead and like to do Pledge of Allegiance.
Roll call first.
Oh, I apologize. Roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Present.
Ms. Turner,
Present.
Mr. Sandoval,
Here.
Mr. Patel.
Aye, Captain Present.
Trustee Ariano is not here this evening.
We can do the pledge now, yeah? Because it says Pledge of Allegiance 1.2. Sarah, could you lead us?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? I'd appreciate it.
Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciated that. All right. Having said that, I'm looking at the board agenda. Before I ask for approval, was there any need to make any adjustments, board members, staff? No? All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the board agenda for tonight.
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
All right.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval,
Aye.
Mr. Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, is there anything else? Okay, we have a few closed items in closed sessions. 2.1, public employee appointment. Also 2.2, potential litigation, and 2.3, conference. Do we have any public comments?
Not for closed session.
Okay, any adjustments necessary before we go ahead and close open session and go to close? Okay. Although, I'd like to entertain a motion to shift.
Motion to close open session and move to closed session.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval,
Aye.
Mr. Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Once again, welcome everyone to Santa Rita Union School District. Our regular meeting on January 24th, 2024. I hereby open the meeting at 6:12. Having said that, we just convened a closed session. There were no actions taken. Having said that, I would like to move on to 5.0, approval of consent agenda. Board members, anyone, any changes?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Can I get a second, please?
I second.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval,
Aye.
Mr. Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much. With board consent, can we move 6.3 to 6.1? I think as regular practice, whenever we have a presentation at from students and from their school, I think they should be the focus of starting of our meetings from this day forward. So with the board's approval, I would recommend that we make that as an ongoing change to our agenda moving forward. Is that an item we need to vote on, or is that, no? I don't think so, right?
It's a presentation item. We can go ahead and move it up this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then future items as well?
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate that. We don't need to vote on that, yeah? We can just go ahead and do it. All right, having said that, it is my pleasure on behalf of the board to welcome Santa Rita Elementary School students for their presentation. I'm very excited. I'm sure all the other board members are. Let's give a big hand of applause. Yay! Woo!
That was wonderful. Thank you. My name is Hillary Nichols. I'm the principal here at Santa Rita Elementary School. It's an honor to be here with everyone. Thank you for joining and coming to our home here at Santa Rita. I am here with our assistant principal, Ms. Kay, who as well I'm grateful for every day, and also our school counselor, Stephanie Garcia, which we're all very grateful. We have the pleasure this evening of speaking with you about our leadership program. Our students have done an amazing job this year, and I will allow them to share their efforts. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome our leadership team. Yeah. And I will allow them to share their efforts. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome our leadership. Welcome. Yeah, okay, just like this. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jaylene Zavala, and I am in 3rd grade.
Hi, my name is Lisbeth Salazar, and I'm a 4th grader.
My name is Masha Marin Gonzalez, and I'm in 5th grade.
My name is Gerardo, and I go to the 5th grade.
My name is Alexa, and I'm in the 4th grade.
Our students have prepared a presentation. Is there a clicker? No, you just have to motion. Okay. So guys, when you're ready to click, you'll just let us know when the next. Okay. You can just say next slide. Okay. Yep. Go ahead. We're ready. Oh, almost ready.
Santa Rita Leadership.
Next slide.
Positive impacts on campus, sports and activities. There are many ways to get involved and make new friends at school. Able to join a club, sport, volunteer with Scholar Squad, principal's recess, and lunch bunch Fridays with the counselor. Different sports played after and during school hours. Volleyball, basketball, track and field, and soccer. Scholar Squad. 4th and 5th grade volunteers once a week helping our TK to 2nd graders. Have a fun time and become mentors. Santa Rita Appreciation. We would like to thank everyone who works at our school for making it a better, welcoming environment and choosing to be here with us. Together, we can get through anything. We are Santa Rita Strong. Thank you. 1. Student Leadership, a club that 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders can be a part of through a recommendation by a staff member.
Why leadership is important. Leadership is important because we are taking a lead on school-wide activities, learning, planning skills, and building confidence through presentations and assemblies, learning how to work with new people, promoting and positivity around campus, building friendship and opening minds.
About student leadership assemblies, we will be having assemblies next week, introducing something new. We will be giving prizes and goodies. Spirit Weeks. We plan out Spirit Weeks for the whole school. About student leadership assemblies, we will be having assemblies next week, introducing something new. We will be giving prizes and goodies. Spirit Weeks. We plan out Spirit Weeks for the whole school. We have done some for bullying prevention and kindness week. Student orientation. We give tours, provide a checklist, introduce new students to school staff, give them welcome goodies. Welcome goodies, answer any questions they have, make students feel safe and comfortable.
Supporting our campus, we created a chant using our new behavior matrix, SRES, Safe, Responsible, Empathetic, Eco-Scholars. We have worked really hard on creating our school chant that represents our Santa Rita family. We would like to thank you for having us and would like to end with our chant. Santa Rita chant. 3, 2, 1.
Let's go, Santa Rita, SRES, safe, responsible, and empathetic. We are scholars. INDIANS, go Indians!
Thank you, Santa Rita Scholars. Excellent work, excellent work. That concludes our presentation. Well done. Are there any questions from the board?
First of all, thank you everyone from Santa Rita, students, staff, everybody, for creating this excellent presentation, but especially the students. You know, today you came and you showed us, you know, that you are super. You are super in terms of building courage, super in terms of leadership. Can you please introduce your parent or guardian who's here? I would love to acknowledge them as well. Give them a little hand applause, yeah?
Yes, of course. Is your mom here? Yes. Do you want to introduce your mom? Okay, go ahead. Do you want to go to the microphone and you can introduce your mom? Or does your mom want to wave? Oh, there they are. Perfect. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, the next Next door.
Yeah, some are next door.
We can have them come over.
Okay. Do you want to invite them over? And is your aunt in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to introduce your aunt? Does your aunt want to raise her hand?
No, she's
Oh, she's on this side.
You want to introduce her?
Either one is perfect.
This is the mic.
Yeah.
Guy.
Wow, look at that courage.
There you go.
Good.
This is my mom and my dad.
This is my aunt because my mom couldn't come.
Whoa, hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my mom, and that's my dad.
Okay, go ahead.
This is my mom and this is my dad.
Board members, would you like to have a couple of comments maybe? Starting from my right?
Primeramente, muchas gracias a los niños, a las maestras que hacen todo esto posible y ustedes, papás, son la fundación de sus niños, son las voces para que ellos sigan con su educación y tengan un futuro brillante, están haciendo todo lo correcto. Estando en esta mesa directiva, estas juntas son lo que me trae alegría saber que ustedes están tan involucrados y deben de estar bien orgullosos de sus niños porque a una edad tan chica toma mucho para que un niño pueda hacer esto. So, muchas gracias, padres, maestras, niños. Pat yourself in the back. You guys are awesome and you guys are going places.
Thank you to the students. You did an amazing job. And thank you to the staff and families. I just could not be more impressed with all of your effort and what beautiful students that you are gracing us with. Thank you.
Well, first, thank you to the students. You guys did an amazing and awesome job. It takes a lot of courage to go out there and speak. So, and you guys adjusted, something came up, but right away you gained that confidence. You kept going forward. Thank you to the staff. You guys are doing an amazing job. Los papás, gracias por traer sus estudiantes. Yo también fui a esa escuela Santa Rita. Yo también creo que Cindy también fue a la escuela Santa Rita. So we and Cindy also came to Santa Rita School. So you as a student, you one day could be here on the school board as well, trying to be in the leadership position for your district as well. So thank you.
Sorry, I always like to talk. This goes out to the students. I want to say today, you have made so many people proud, from the teachers to the principal to the entire staff, especially to your parents and everyone here. But I want to say this, on the way home today, I want you to take a minute and say to yourself, I did it. You should be the one that should be the most proud of what you have done. You built courage. I know each and every one of you, before you came here today, you were a little scared. You had a little fear. And instead of letting that prevent you, you took it on. You had the courage to come here and present in front of all these adults. And that should indicate to you and show you that you have that within you. So as you go home tonight, make sure you thank yourself, because ultimately you were the one who did this with the help of others, but you're the one who had to did it. So remember, you built courage today. Thank you. Having said that, Superintendent would like to get the photo in now or comment?
Yeah, let's have everyone, our student presenters up, and if your parent or your guardian is with you, come on up and let's take a photo together. Celebrate your evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job.
Maybe transitioning out for a little bit of distance.
Once again, thank you to Santa Rita students and staff for hosting us here and having a great presentation. Having said that, normally this is the time of the meeting where if you were here just for the student presentation and you wanted to go home, this is your cue, if you will. If you're here for the rest of the meeting, welcome. Thank you for being here, and we appreciate your patience. So with that, I would like to go ahead and continue on with the meeting. We're at 6.1, Santa Rita Teachers Association, I believe. Do we have anyone present representing? Yes, yes. Welcome.
No, they're in another room. We're showing it there. They're interpreting. I'm not going to forget the mic this time. Okay. Good evening. SRTA is excited for all of the student activities and parent involvement that we have coming up at the middle school level. Our basketball season is almost over, and there are 2 concerts coming up that we would love to see you guys at. Our band have been working very hard to get ready for it. And at the elementary school level, McKinnon is hosting a parent engagement night, and we look forward to possibly hosting those at our other school sites. Because, I know at JG we had one last year, and it was a big hit with our parents. On the other side of the coin, members have seen an uptick in maladaptive behaviors that our restorative practices aren't quite able to curtail. And despite working with our RP leads and implementing our new SEL curriculum, there is a concern about student and staff safety, as well as a noticeable lack of empathetic connection between students that is leading towards an increased conflict. It's, as little as the kids don't know how to interact while they're playing outside. And we can say that it could be due to COVID, but it's been 3 years and we're at a point where we need to start looking at resources to help them connect with each other and with the adults in their lives. So with that, we look forward to working together with all available resources to discuss how we can better support our students in a caring and effective learning environment that not only teaches them the curriculum, but also how to be better world citizens. So I know this isn't a discussion, but we did do the circles last year and they were really effective. So we're looking forward to possibly doing things like that and just getting student and adult input on how we can help support our kids. Okay. So that's it. Thank you.
6.2, representative from the CSEA, California School Employees Association. Do we have a representative here?
No representative and no comment.
Okay, no problem. Hopefully, we'll see him next time. All right, having said that, we're going to move on to 6.4, Superintendent's Cabinet. Do we have Victor online or?
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, you can hear me? Okay, great. I'm sorry, my video is locked out. The host stopped my video. So I'll just go ahead since you can hear me. Good afternoon, everybody. I've got some good updates coming up with the Facilities Committee update. I want to save that time for then. We were able to do a lot of projects during the break, and I just want to say thank you to HR for working really hard with me on filling some of the gaps that I have with personnel. And with that, if you have any questions, I'd like to go ahead and do the update on the Facilities Committee.
Board members, do we have any comments or shall we wait for the facilities report? Are we good with that? Yeah. All right. Superintendent? Would you like me to introduce your cabinet or would you rather do it?
I can do it.
No, it's up to you. I figured your cabinet, normally,
Ms. Samaria?
Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, so this week we've been working a lot on state reporting, a lot of federal and state reporting with those one-time funds. Also, this evening I met with the school site secretaries to go over the budget. I provided information on where they're at on their spending as of January, which is pretty much half of the year. But believe it or not, we only have about 4 months left for the school year. So I want to make sure they're looking at their budget. If they need to do any budget revisions, to submit that as soon as possible and to ensure that funds get spent this year for all the sites. So it was a good collaboration. We had some tools that we're sharing with each other, and we've been emailing. We started the conversation about 2-3 weeks ago. So on the last weeks, they have been doing a great improvement on spending the funds and doing orders. We're gonna keep having meetings if possible and being in touch with them by email in regards to their funding on especially these one-time funds that are expiring this year. Thank you.
Just a quick question. What date are we looking forward in terms of the state releasing more information?
In regards to the budget, so I attended the budget conference last week, and right now there hasn't been any new information. The latest information that we received was that the districts are getting 0.76% COLA for next year. Thanks for asking about that. I know that when we go on the internet or we go to these sites, the state is saying there's not going to be no cash deferrals, not budget cuts, and things appear to be normal. When you translate that to the district level, it's a total different story. As you know, more than 80% of the districts in California are in decline enrollment, and a 0.76% for that 80% of the districts means a negative COLA. So when we're talking about percentages, and we transfer that to a percentage in our district, we're talking about negative 3% COLA for next year. And we're talking about Proposition 98, which is the ongoing funding, which is our LCFF funding. So it's we're trying to get as much as information. So far, that's what it's looking at. For our district, a negative 3% COLA. When you transfer that to a dollar amount, we're talking about $1.4 million on budget cut for our LCFF revenue, which funds 80% of our district salaries and benefits. So we're trying to get as much as information and plan as much as we can. There's a concern as well, as you might know, that the state is gonna be funding this 0.76% COLA based on the reserves, which is one-time funding. And as you know, the guidance from the state is always don't use your savings, right? Your reserves, don't use these one-time dollars for ongoing funding. However, this is exactly what they're doing. They're funding the COLA, which is an ongoing expense, with one-time funds, which is the reserve. So I'm waiting to hear for more information. The information that is out there is as it is, but it's still a little bit concerning because it is an ongoing cost, and we're hoping that things get better at the state level. Thank you.
I had a question. How much of the percentage of negative COLA will be impacted by attendance, right? So I think part of it, right, because it's ADA.
Yeah.
So like if we get, let's say, a -3 versus -4 or 5 or -2, how much is that impacted by attendance?
Yes,
Or a
so-
percentage of, yeah.
Good question. So right now we can, it depends, right? Because we have enrollment, and then we get funded based on the number of days that the students come to school. So if one day a student doesn't come to school, we don't get the money. So it's really important, right, that students come to school because we get the most funding. It really depends. Right now is just an estimated amount based on the latest information, based on the last year enrollment and ADA. If our ADA and attendance gets better this year, and it gets better by a percentage, it can be very close to probably $500,000, depending on the unduplicated count. As you know, we get the LCAP dollars. But just to round it out, we can say for every percent, it's about a little bit less than $500,000. Yeah, so we're counting with Saturday Academy as well to help us with our ADA, which it will help us with our funding. However, there's also costs for paying teachers and things like that. So there's expense. We're hoping to get money back. It's kind of like a balance. So yeah, it all depends on how many kids get enrolled next year and how is our attendance for next year. And right now it's gonna be estimates. We don't get our final enrollment for next year until December, when we certify to the state. And we really don't get exactly how much money exactly we get until we finalize the year, because that's when we get our final enrollment. So all of this time we're talking about only estimates.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And I just kind of wanted the public to know part of that is declining enrollment, part of that is attendance, right? Because that's super important. Because if not, we get less funding. Teachers still have to show up. Everybody's supposed to show up. Whether it's 20 students or 22, whatever the classroom is, we're still spending the money to the district. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Dr. Prather-Smith?
I'm going to be deferring my time tonight for our presentation from Centro Binacional.
Jimmy's like, it's your team.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us, Summer. We really appreciate the collaboration with the school and with the district. Leonel right now is handing out the bios of our team members so that you can get to know them better. And he will be presenting for the most part today. Thank you.
Can we have the slides? Yep. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Leonel Hernandez. I work for Centro Binacional. Recently, we just recently opened the after-school program for the Mixteco kids, and we're really happy to show you kind of the things that we're doing in this program.
Sorry about that. I want to make sure
Okay, so next slide. Okay, so I'm here to introduce also the team members that we're working with. We have Fabiola, Abigail, and Leonardo. So if they have a few words that they can share, it is the time. So, Leonardo.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Leonardo Galvez. Soy de la comunidad mixteca del estado de Guerrero, México. Déjenme introducirle un poquito de mixteco. Yurnani Leonardo Galvez, Rañón, México, que tiene Cochopa el Grande.
Dance Condo, Yukinani Fabiola Gómez, Yaño San Martín Peraski. Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Yo me llamo Fabiola Gómez, soy de San Martín Peras.
Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Abigail Martínez y yo soy de la región mixteca de parte de Oaxaca, México, y me da mucho gusto estar aquí. Yugenani Abigail Martínez, ra Yuchi región, ña mixteca, Oaxaca, gui, ña ñu Ahuejutla, ra ñicanziba.
And we're lucky here to also have Marisela. She's one of our primary organizers with Centro Binacional, who was a big part of the effort to make this happen, this after-school program.
Ña chavindo ña kisha invitando nduraña kiji Marisela Ramírez raña yuñu ña San Martín Peras kira tundavika iraña cuatsuko yo miña kisha apoyando mi programa yo nishona. Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Marisela Ramírez, yo soy del municipio de San Martín Peras, hablo mixteco y estoy muy feliz de que apoyen a este programa porque sí era una gran necesidad de nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
And Estela Hernández.
Kahuira odazo de con toya so quiz ma programa ne ra gaviche real in the quiz ma programa so good afternoon, my name is Estela Hernández. I'm from Triqui community and I'm so happy that you guys have approved this resolution and you guys are the first district doing this, so hopefully we can move on with this next year. And yeah, so I'm the programs manager at Selena's office with Centro Binacional. Thank you.
Yeah, we want to give thanks, a big thank you to all the people that have made this possible, Marisela, Estela, and especially Centro Binacional. So we can move on to the next slide. Okay, I'll be talking about some of the stuff that we're doing with this program. So starting, we assist, we help the families with interpretation because there's a necessity that exists, that the Mixteco community, it's really big in this area. The numbers are around like, I'm not sure, 150,000 to 200,000 just in California. So the number is really big. So we're really thankful that this is to the people that have made this possible. We give them confidence to communicate with us. This is something that it is really important for us to show the Mixteco parents that there is interpretation, there is someone within the school that speaks their language, that understands the language, and someone that they can trust if they can, there has always been that communication barrier. So we're kind of breaking that barrier slowly, but we're doing it. So we're really thankful for that. Individualized language assistance to the family. So we also help them to interpret with interpretation, with translation of documents, resources, referrals, outreach to the Mixteco families, assisting new arrival kids. We wanted to include this because I myself, I grew up here as a kid and I didn't have anyone that I could spoke to back in the days when I was a kid and I only spoke Mixteco, and I had that problem that I couldn't understand either English or Spanish, and I didn't have that help. And now that we do have the opportunity to assist the kids, we do have that right now. So I'm really happy with that. In the number, in 2 months, we have been able to assist over 30-something families. And that's a big number for us because, as I just recently mentioned, the number's really big. It's not just 30 families. We know that there's more people, more families that need this assistance. We can move on to the next slide. We're going to talk about like a little bit of what we're doing with the program. We started just recently on January 5th. We started with the enrollment forms, and we already enrolled over we have around 20 students as of now, and we're also counting the 9 students from Macy's. They, when we first got here, we were assisting with the ACES program, and there has been a big number, or there's a big number of Mixteco kids in that program as well. So one of the things that I want to mention is that when we started doing this, is that these kids were really interested, and they were really shocked when they saw someone, an adult, speaking their language within the school. This was really shocking for them. So some of them, they were a little bit embarrassed. They were insecure about like sharing the language that they also spoke. They also speak this language. They were a little bit insecure about that. But eventually, when a few weeks later, they started talking to us. So they built up that confidence. So that's really one of our big achievements here. We have around 6 students waiting list. We are getting more people that are interested in this program because there is a need. The parents are interested in it. The students are interested in it. So that's really work. Teachers, they have identified like over 80 Mixteco students that are within this school. But I'm not sure, but I will just assume that the number is really bigger than that, because as I just mentioned, the number is really big. So I think that they have only recognized like over 80 students, but I think the number is really is bigger. So we can move on to the next slide. Part of the curriculum that we're doing here, for kindergartens to first graders and probably second graders as well, we try to teach them storytelling, stories from our hometown. We have also seen that some of these kids, because of this language barrier that exists, they're unable to understand the teachings in their classroom. So some of them can barely recognize numbers. They can barely recognize letters. The alphabet is something they're really delayed on those subjects. So, and it is one of the reasons because of that. It is because of that the language barrier. So we want to give them assistance in their native language, and we try to give them help them develop their skills just with visual learning, writing activities, so they can develop those skills. We also try to give them reading lessons. We tell them stories. We all kinds of stuff. But what we don't want to do here is that for them to have that confidence that the people that is teaching them is speaking their language. So if they have any concerns, if they have any questions, they can come to us. So that's really important. From 3rd grade to 5th grade, we are building more communication skills. So we want these kids to be able to communicate, not just with us, but also to the school teachers. So we are they're really insecure a little bit. Some of them might feel ashamed for many reasons, and we want to assist them on that, and we want them to feel secure, comfortable, and give them that safe space that they need to in order to develop those communication skills. We also give them reading and writing activities in their native language. So this is something that personally, this is one of my dreams because I speak Mixteco, and one of the problems that we have in Mixteco is that most people don't write it or don't read it. And this is something that we might probably, with this program, we might be able to create a generation that can write and read in Mixteco. And that is something that something that is going to be awesome, in the future. We also give them some historical context of their place of origin. They have these kids, they have this identity crisis because they do not understand the place of their origin, where they come from, what language do they speak. Some of them might speak Mixteco, but they don't actually know what language they speak. So it is important for them to recognize where this language comes from. What is the historic context of this language? Why do they speak, their parents speak a different language and the rest of the, let's say, the society speaks a different language? So they have to understand this. Cultural development as well. We want them to be able to develop culturally as well, because our culture is something that it has been around for thousands and thousands of years. So we want them to cherish that culture, and it's gonna help them really a lot in the future. And we also give them, as I just mentioned, linguistic development, and not just in Mixteco, but also in English and Spanish. We want to build, to create a generation of trilingual kids. So yeah, moving on to the next slide. Okay, student support, kind of the work that we do, we give them individualized assistance in certain subjects because they really need this attention. This attention is not really given to them within the school, but it's not because of the teachers or because of the teachers or the school. It is the problem because of that, the language barrier. So it is really important to have someone that they can trust so that they can communicate with in their native language. We evaluate these students based on their needs, on the specific supports that they need. So if a student needs to understand like something like a math subject, we want to focus on that math subject. I've seen like cases of kids that are really good at math, but they can't read. So there's that problem. So we want to focus on those specific problems. This is really important, creating a safe space where the students feel safe to express themselves. This is one of the problems that I just mentioned, that most of these kids don't feel safe when they speak their language. So we want them to feel safe. If something's going on at home, within the school, anything, they have to be able to express themselves. So they have to have that confidence and that trust from the people, from someone that speaks their language. And also, we want to also show them that this trust is something that they can actually trust their teachers, the Santa Rita staff. So we want to build that safe, comfortable space for them. Creating a space where students feel safe to express themselves. Yeah, creating a community within the school. So I assume that this is a community as well. Although I'm talking about a community from the people that speaks our language, we're also including, we're a community all here. We all have to see each other, talk to each other every day. So we are a community. And teachings about the community values, and this is something really important for I think all of us, to teach our kids about how to treat other people with respect and dignity. So yeah, and moving on to the next slide. Yeah, I'm sharing some of the photos when we started the program on January 8th, and yeah, we're really happy with the program. We can move on to the next slide. Oh, so we have goals in this program. So we want these kids to feel pride in their culture and language. And this is one of the problems that have been identified. It's one of the reasons that we're here, because this is something that it's not recently, has been going on through a lot of years because of historical contexts, a lot of stuff going on. But we want them to feel pride in the culture, to build that confidence, to express themselves, and to be able to have that expression, to express themselves. This is something that it's just that. We want them to have a linguistic development, trilingualism, as I just mentioned. We want them to be able to speak the 3 languages. We're not taking, it is important for us to embrace our language first, but we also want them to be able to communicate with the other people. As I just mentioned, we are a community, so it is important for them to communicate with the rest of the kids. And cultural development, as I mentioned, we want them to develop culturally and to be able to embrace their culture. And academic achievements, academic development, we also want them to do great at school. This is really one of our goals. We don't just want them to learn about their culture, about their history. As I just mentioned, it is important, but we also want them to do good at school. And we want to create a sense of community and belonging, because one of the reasons that I just mentioned is that they have this problem that they don't know where they come from. They have this identity crisis, and they have a lot of questions going on in their heads, and we have to assist them on that. And we as adults, we have experienced that that community sense of community and belonging. But some of these kids that grew up in a different country, a different place, speaking probably, and some of them no longer speak Mixteco, and they have that identity crisis. So it is something that it is real. Program sustainability and expansion. This program started, it's not something that happened because of Centro Binacional. It is something that happened because the parents were speaking, and they were speaking up, and they saw the necessity of this program, because the number of Mixtecos it is really big. So they see this necessity to have someone that speaks their language within a school, someone that speaks Mixteco that can teach their kids that speak a different language that is not either Spanish or English. And there's also interest by other communities to expand this program. As many of you might understand, Mixteco is just one of the many languages in southern Mexico, and there are many other languages. So we want to expand this, not just for the Mixteco community, but also for the rest of the Chatinos, Triquis, Mazatecos, Mijes, Maya. There's too many languages and that need this safe space for them as well. So we can move on to the next slide. We're going to talk about some of the program needs. We have received, we have around 20 students for now, but the space that we're using, it is a really small space. And as I mentioned, the number is really bigger. It's not just 20 students. We have way more bigger numbers and parents that are coming to us that are interested in the program. So we want to be able to assist these families, to give no exceptions, to be able to say, yes, it is an open space. So we don't want to say no to any other families, because we know that there is that necessity, that they want their kids to be in this program. And we have received over a list of 80 students, but yeah, the number is really big. Our current capacity is around 30 students in that small space that we have right now, but we want to be able to expand the number. We have 3 part-time structures, and I'm the coordinator, and so we have 4 people assisting these kids. But if we were to expand, I think that we had to be more. We need more people to be able to help these kids. And one of the needs, we need more participation from the parents, and I think we're already doing that. So the parents are really interested in it. They're happy with the program, and that's something that we should be pushing for in the future. Support from the school district to sustain and expand the program. And yeah, I just want to give a big thanks to you guys, because this is something that we are already doing, but somewhere in the future we want to expand this, and based on the number of Mixteco kids that we have here, we might need we're gonna need your support in the future. And yeah, going on to the next slide, and we have some of the achievements that I'm really happy to share with you. The Santa Rita district is the first to implement this program in the Salinas Valley. So this is something really big, because as we just mentioned, the necessity is there. The Mixteco parents are really interested in it, and the kids, they are really interested in this program. And meeting language, yeah. And kids are gaining confidence to express their feelings and needs. This is something that, yeah, it's a big achievement for us, because over these last few months that we've been here, we have seen the change in their faces. the expression that they can express something that they feel that their language, the language that they speak, is really something that has value. So this is something really big for us. And parents are receiving in language information and support regarding their children's education, because there's this problem of the language barrier. So we have been able to communicate with the parents, and if they have any questions about what is going on with their children's education, they can come to us, they can come to the school. But having someone that speaks Mixteco, having people that speak Mixteco in this school is something that can give them that trust. So yeah, and I just want to give that thanks to you guys too. So, and this is something that I'm just gonna be a personal thought for myself, is that it is really rare in these days to see a kid which is speaking Mixteco. It is so rare, even in our communities. And I have two kids right here that are in my program, and this is something that it was really shocking for me. And I just want to say that, yeah, it is so rare that we need to protect these kids. We need to give them that assistance, because we need to, as if they were like a really precious treasure. Because yeah, that's what I think of these kids. And thank you. Yeah.
Gracias, Leonel, y gracias, compañeros. Thank you to the team. And I wanted to say our executive director really just want to be here, Sarai Martinez. I'm here in her place. My name is Clarissa Reyes Becerra. I'm the programs director for the County of Monterey for Centro Binacional. And again, as Leonel is saying, we do want to appreciate and thank you for this partnership, but this isn't just for this year. This is for next year as well. We need to be thinking in advance. We saw with the partnership of summer what it took to get this program started, and we can't just stop, and I know that's a long-term plan. And I also just want to say, in the spirit of being here today, we thank you for this invitation to come and present, but we highly encourage you as an ally in improving language access in schools, that when you have meetings where parents will be there speaking not just Mixteco, but Spanish as well, that you have live interpreters in person. Because as you can see, at the last minute, we were trying to coordinate that for parents. And we always reiterate this as Centro Binacional. We are here as partners, as allies, but we are not just an organization of interpreters. We are an organization of community organizers, of educators, of care coordinators through First Five and our maternal mental health program. So as our responsibility is to be instructors, to be care coordinators, yes, and to be allies and partners for the parents that we work with, yes. But you also have obligations as a education institution to provide those services. And as a lawyer, I'd be remiss to not mention that separate but equal, that does not exist. So the fact that we have to separate parents for interpretation, I understand that there's a logistical issue of space, but separate but equal that's not the standard we should be holding ourselves by here. And especially as partners, as allies, we just want to say, we appreciate your partnership and we encourage you. We are happy to be a resource. We're happy to connect you with more interpreters and to make that a reality for meetings like this in the future. So thank you. No sé si tienen algo más que mencionar. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Comments from the board members, starting from my right, all the way down. Cindy? Yes.
Nada más quería decir muchas gracias. Thank you very much for the presentation. Es bonito ver que que somos el primer distrito traer esto y que se está formando ese bridge, ¿verdad? Para el lenguaje y poder asistir a nuestros niños, familias. So, muchas gracias por eso. Thank you guys for being the bridge and helping us as being the first district, and hopefully it grows. Wishing you guys the best.
Thank you for being here tonight. We've been talking about this for a long time, so it's exciting to see it actually happening.
I have a couple questions. So I know one of the things we've kind of heard in the past is like to grow capacity. So let's say, for example, next year we assume we have the space, and then saying, hey, now this next year we want to have 10 coordinators. Is there that capacity of coordinators and stuff in place to do that?
Yes, I think there's a lot of interest from not just from us. I was doing some other stuff when people actually contacted me for this program, and I felt like this is something that I just needed to do, and I just felt that responsibility. So I'm pretty sure that we have a lot of people that are really see the necessity of this, so we have the capacity to expand. We just need that support from you guys. So yeah.
So a lot of it would be potentially outreach because maybe not necessarily on staff now that you have, but it would be a matter of you setting like an outreach program to attract people. Like, say you say you were doing something different, right? So like, for example, right now it would be also setting up that system where you start saying, hey, planning for next year, now we have to recruit 6 more people that we currently don't have within our organization. Would that be kind of a fair assessment, or?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing that we're doing right now. And yeah, as I just mentioned, like there is interest from other people, and we have the networks of people that can do this job. So yeah.
And it isn't
Mhm,
necessarily
mhm.
like we need 10,
Sure,
that
no,
would be
I'm just
amazing.
brainstorming, yeah, yeah.
But I think also
Yeah.
we've learned ourselves that having part-time isn't going to be enough because the training that goes into being an educator, a lot of our members have experience as parents, but it is very different to be an educator. There are also legal requirements that we need to meet. We're just realizing that part-time barely covers the time with the students. It doesn't cover the prep time, or well, we're trying to make it happen for covering prep time, covering training time, covering team time, covering reflection and reporting time. So it's also not just a number of coordinators, but it is also appreciating the time that it takes to be an educator, as you all know.
And I know we're the first one in this area. How about in other cities across California, as far as a similar program like this?
Yeah, that's just one of the dreams that we're having,
Yeah.
because there's the necessity is not just here in Santa Rita. It's actually in all California, in all of the United States. There's this necessity. So if we're able to expand that much, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my question is like Centro Binacional. Is there a similar program to this in other school districts?
Yeah, there's a
across
program going
California?
on. I think in Fresno, the first district to be able to implement this program was in Fresno. Fresno.
Statewide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
statewide.
And I'm not sure about others. I mean,
Yeah, I think from what I've known and what I know, they were the first district to be able to do this. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think they're thinking about it like in Oxnard and other communities where there's also a big number of different indigenous communities. But the reality is, I mean, Salinas Valley, you have a higher concentration. Fresno area, you have a higher concentration. Oxnard, so Central Valley, Central Coast, really. So that's where you'll probably see this interest in these programs rising up again, especially once it gets publicized that you guys did it. I can imagine that it'll encourage others. And I know we have a big Latino community just in Salinas here by Market Street. They want to, I mean, when I moved here, it was very interesting to see how you guys split up your districts, because I had always been like LAUSD or Sacramento, and it's very different. But I think it's cool because you guys can make those decisions as a district and say that that's something that you want here. And we can use that to say encouraging other districts in this area, like the for the Chatino community by Market Street, for in Greenfield, which is another district, encouraging them as well. It has a big Triqui community. So just in this region, I think it's one way to, as allies, and organizing and encouraging others to do the same.
So right now, would you say, as far as the Centro Binacional, how many districts would you say have the program currently? First, I know you said Oxnard is kind of looking at it, so it's pretty much 2 currently. That kind of.
Yeah, Centro Binacional, we're focused more in the Fresno area and in the Central Coast area, northern Central Coast. My COP covers more southern Central Coast, so Oxnard area. But it really, when we worked with you, when we organized this, there wasn't somebody else who you could point to and say like, oh, well, you have this network of people who can, organize and put together a curriculum in the summer, So we're trying, we're learning, and we appreciate you guys all being a resource. We've really had a lot of support from Summer, from Hillary, from Donna, from several members of the team here, and that it's a collaborative experience.
So I guess that's my kind of question. So right now, there's about 2 that you're aware of.
The whole state.
The whole state, yeah. And the reason I'm kind of asking, just kind of brainstorming a little bit. And then a lot of our funding right now, for example, either whether it's Fresno or us or the school districts, there's really no state funding available to say, hey, this is this niche, this program that we want to gear towards this. Am I correct in that? Kind of in that.
Correct. We've made it a priority within our LCAP plan. So there's not designated funding, but we've made it a priority within our LCAP.
I think other states, I think Washington might have a couple programs, but in this state, as far as we know, Fresno in here.
Yeah, and the reason I'm kind of mentioning this as a bigger brainstorming kind of thing is I think one of the things, especially after we get the kind of the first year on the ground, because they just started in January, so it's still very, very fresh. I mean, one of the things I'd like to see if the board is open to it is maybe before the year ends to do like a spotlight video, like a 2 to 3 minute video that highlights pretty much what you explained, but like in the classroom with the students, speaking their language, they're showing the books, they're reading. Because what I'm thinking I could kind of help in 2 different ways. One is it would help show, because I think this is kind of a lot of times scary for districts if you guys had to figure out their curriculum. So it seems very impossible at first, right? So I think with one of those types of videos that our district does and invest in, it does that to promote it to other school districts or other parts of the state. The other thing, because I kind of see a lot of parallels, kind of what happened with even Spanish back like in the 60s and stuff, that kind of happened. And part of that, and now it's like they invest money in certain programs to do with Spanish, right? So that video will also kind of help potentially be the seed where if a legislator picks it up, they can eventually write it into the budget in the future, right? And I think that's kind of part of what a lot of times what happens is like, hey, look at this exciting program, we're starting here, and maybe that could be a way to get state funding, is if there's some way to kind of show what's happening. And then with Centro, I'm sure you guys have a lot of the data that you guys are just starting to move forward. So I'm just thinking just out loud, a lot of the data with the video. And then I'm sure with time, build up coalitions of different organizations, because obviously we want to expand it, right? And it also depends what we can do within our funding, because obviously there is a need there, and it also helps teachers out, right? Because if you have a classroom and there's 24 kids and maybe there's 4 students in there that are struggling, not understanding, might have behavioral stuff because they're frustrated, that also impacts everybody else in the classroom, and it impacts the student and the success of the family, and as they get older, right? So it is also a huge investment, in helping the teachers out as well and the rest of the students. So
yeah, no, we appreciate any partnership on that. Like we want to make that video, we want to collect those photos. We do have like photo releases that we're working with the families to understand what that means and all that, so we'd be happy to coordinate that with you. We are part of our larger advocacy efforts for language access among CDSS, Department of Healthcare Services. So if you all know those more avenues on education, we will be there right with you. So,
And I'll just add, the team was essential during our evacuation of Santa Rita due to the water main break. They were able to support us in communicating with families and making sure that families were picked up.
yeah, and I definitely like, and I'll probably get your contact later from Summer as well. So I'm also part of LULAC, and so I know little by little we're trying to do different initiatives. So it's even like if one day we can connect and say, hey, we're going to be in Sacramento together, we're going to meet with this person, send me some information or something else to kind of, because I think, it helps not only what you're trying to do, but it's also going to help the community here locally in our district, right? Because if you increase the capacity of those students, you increase the capacity of the other students as well. So
this team can turn out 80 people like that. So
no, that's awesome.
You tell them and they will do it. So
yeah. So great presentation. You did an awesome job. It was very understanding, but I did see a lot of parallels as far as where you guys are trajectory and kind of in that direction. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
And I just want to add, in going forward, at our previous board meeting that we just had before this, we just created an extended learning position of someone who's going to be a director at the district level. And this folds perfectly into that, because extended learning is, what are you doing after school? What are you doing during the summer? So it's part of what we can do is say, hey, we're prioritizing children's native language. We need to build that into what we're doing in our after school programs, what we're doing in the summers, just knowing that that's part of what we're doing to grow our capacity. So that that person is a yet to be determined person, yet to be hired person, but it will be part of, like, this is our basic culture of Santa Rita. This is what we need you to incorporate when you're doing your long-term planning.
Perfect. When you hire, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll set up a meeting.
So is the rest of the board on board with trying to invest in the potential video for them to kind of spotlight?
We can even do that within some of the contracting we already have.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I just want to say thank you to this team. I'm so grateful for you. I hope I've expressed that enough, but I'm so grateful to what Leonel brings here to this Family Resource Center and his supports for our families, as well as the outreach and support that he's doing on our campuses with our teachers and going over to Gamble and View as well as supporting our families. It's brought families in that maybe were staying away because they didn't have that access. So thank you all for all you do. Estela, I look forward to Estela's email when it's coming. So thank you, thank you.
I just want to say thank you. All I'm thinking about right now is just sadness and happiness. The sadness that be by your presence here and by your statements and the historical aspects of not being included for hundreds of years, in the very land that was once part of Mexico. And so the idea that we have indigenous people from various parts of Mexico that could not find connection, could not find respect, could not find that ability to see somebody else that speaks their language, knows their culture, and having those dreams die along the way from an early age, and having those people who experience this and their future generations, such as yourselves, coming here and saying, we're going to fight back, we're not going to let it die. We are going to teach this to the people. We're going to bring it. And so that's where the hope and happiness comes in, and I'm glad we are, one of the districts, other two. I strongly encourage further development along with additional funding from various partners to grow it, expand it from this district to other districts. But once again, I thank you for the honesty, and I thank you for choosing to make a difference rather than letting the dream die. Thank you very much. Having said that, Superintendent, do we have any more from this presentation, or is there any other comments? Or one more? Sorry, Becky, I apologize. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's give him another hand of applause.
Thank you, guys.
We're very fortunate.
Okay, for the sake of time, I'm jumping right in. Looking at last week, I attended AXA's Negotiators Symposium along with other HR professionals, CBOs from around the state. And it was really beneficial in receiving legal updates, both new legislation and case law that impacts the work that we do with our employees and with our labor partners and the collaboration that we have. So that was really helpful. We're also in the middle of our iReady site professional development days. So each site has a full day booked with an iReady trainer to review by grade level or department their data from the most recent winter diagnostic and talk about next steps to move students forward in their learning. Along that side of leadership with curriculum instruction, we have our next round of district learning walks coming up between now and our next board meeting. So I'm looking forward to visiting classrooms again. It's really where my heart is. And we have negotiations coming up both with SRTA next week and CSEA the following week. So we're looking forward to continuing our conversations and getting closer to agreements. Thank you.
Next up, we have the board and superintendent's report. First up, Cindy Lopez.
So I don't have much to report besides our coming up Saturday workshop that we have coming up this Saturday. I thought it was this past Saturday. I was freaking out, but I thought I had missed it. But good to know it's this Saturday. And then besides that, on Monday evening, Sarah and I attended another workshop that hopefully if you guys have my fellow board members, How Not to Be a Terrible School Board Member. I love this book. It gives you examples. I mean, it is awesome. It's easily to read for newly board members. Sarah was one of the presenters. She did awesome. It was a 2-hour workshop and they flew by. It was like, I could be here for 2 more hours. So it was really good. And going off of that, it's just to parents. I mean, like I said, we're the voice. I mean, we want to change. We need to be part of it. We need to make sure that we're as involved because it takes two. Being a parent, I know that I had a perspective. I was like, oh, there's that. Now being on this side, now I know what happens on the other end. And we have a great team, a great, great team. Thank you, ladies. I cannot stress enough what a great job you guys are doing. Summer, we're so, so, so lucky to have you. You do so much. Melissa, the way you have the team going, it just speaks volumes. I'm very proud of being, this district is very near to my heart because I came to this school. I went to Gavilan View, and my kid's now here. She's soon to graduate middle school. And seeing Ms. Johnson, I remember her, being very valuable to I hated P, and she would run top of the lungs and put me on the spot. And I'd be like, why? But you know what? There's so many memories, and that's why I'm here today. And that's the only thing I could say to the parents, know when to step up, know that it takes you guys and it takes us to make our children successful. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah, I noticed that the board member list hasn't been updated with the new officers. And yes, I previewed this my own self and didn't catch it until right now, so I'm also to blame. So last Thursday went to the facilities meeting. Really appreciate having the reps from all the schools there. It's really helpful in terms of identifying things that have just fallen through the cracks that we believed were fixed, but were not. I also really appreciated all the huge amount of work that maintenance did over break to work on some long-term issues. As Cindy mentioned, on Monday, I was one of the facilitators for the Monterey County School Board Association training. I was so grateful. We had an amazing turnout, and Monterey County Office of Ed did a great job supporting that. It was incredibly nerve-wracking. I love teaching my second graders, and I'm comfortable doing that. And teaching adults is a totally other scary thing. So lived through that. And then as Santa Rita's representative to Monterey County School Boards Association, we'll be meeting on Monday to talk about the spring, and especially talk about the Excellence in Education Award and the Monterey County School Boards Association dinner. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you. I just want to say I'm glad we're doing the meeting here at Santa Rita. When I first came on the board, that was one of my goals, was to have the meeting around just to make it more accessible to people in the community. People live close by, they can just a quick walk, versus if it's a district office and you work for McKinnon or New Republic, it just makes it a little bit less accessible, or just you don't want to make the effort sometimes. Let's be real. So it makes having it closer at least kind of gives people a chance to move around. I'm thankful we got that program off the ground. I know that need was there for a long time. So it's good that it's going to help in many different avenues. So I'm excited about that. I saw at the Salinas City Council meeting, Andrew Sandoval was appointed to be on the committee for education for the city, which I think is super awesome. And the other one is Anthony Rocha. So you have two former school board members that are now in the city council that understand that avenue. And that's going to be super important when we try to build a relationship with anything that kind of happens. So I was super happy that happened. I'm looking forward to our board workshop. We're doing a lot of amazing things, and of course, there's always room for improvement. But I'm glad that we're able to have those conversations and little by little kind of figure out what we need to do next to move the district forward. So thank you.
Just a couple of comments. First, I want to commend our district and especially staff for handling the issue here with the water main break. The idea of closing any school is probably one of the worst things that can ever happen, besides, given common negative things that happen. But the fact that the staff came together, from admin, especially locally here at the staff, and schools working together, I just want to commend the staff and teachers and parents and everyone working together to handle it the best way possible. and that was to get it done, make sure safety was priority, and get the school back and running the next day as soon as possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. I haven't, my phone just keeps going off and off about, fights and complaints and about, issues regarding discipline. Without getting in specifics, I have this to say. Yes, do we have issues? Do we have issues regarding, students' behavior? Of course we do. Are we unlike other districts? No, we're not. Have we done everything possible with various programs and to still follow the mandated laws? I believe we are doing that. I cannot think of another district that has spent more money, more resources in providing support for teachers and staff, restorative justice, wellness centers, behavioral therapists. I work at another school district, the largest one. Day in and day out, there's drama. This is the nature of education these days. And so I share the concerns. I'm in the middle of it with you. But at the same time, if anyone on earth has a better idea on how to address these issues, come forward and make sure it is legally doable. Make sure it has the heart of re-education and hope for students and protecting staff. Of course. But as a board member, we sit here and pull our hairs trying to figure out how to best support and safety for our staff and students. And the truth is, it's a difficult job. I cannot find another district that is trying as hard as we are. And so I hear your concerns, and we're going to do the best we can to address them. But make no mistake, we're trying. Everyone's trying. And the only way we're going to get through this is if we do this together. And so, yes, are we having difficulties in education? Nationwide. Are we having issues with drama in the classroom? Nationwide. But what are you doing to try to make it better? This district has done more than any district around here. And still not enough, I get it. But at the same time, we have to understand that we have to come together and realize this is our community. There's just us. There's no expelling, throwing them out. These are human beings. These are lives that can be saved, can be rehabilitated. And so for the staff and to the students and teachers, I say I applaud you for everything you are doing, everything you are trying. And I just want to say we're all trying to support each other, and we're looking for solutions. We're looking for solutions. And so if we can find those solutions, we can find effective ways to deal with this, we're all ears, all ears. And if it's proven that it works, we're willing to take a chance on it. And so as a teacher myself, I felt very strongly, and as a board member, I had to share that because I get frustrated too. I got drama every day, but I will not give up. This is the profession I chose. And at the same time, I expect my administration to do everything possible to protect me and make sure education continues in the classroom. And so that are the constraints we face. Those are the challenges we face. And I want to say that as a teacher, I can't think of better people that can handle this situation than us. Are we going to disagree? Of course. Are we going to have doubts? Of course. But we got to trust the process. There's just us. There's nobody else. So thank you for letting me speak my mind. I appreciate you, all of you. And once again, thank you for the staff for coming in every day to educate our community.
I mostly want to thank the leadership team for just absolutely stepping up from the very moment I got notice that I needed to abruptly leave town for a family emergency last week and just handling all the things that came up. And I'd like to say thank you to the board for your support in taking the time that I needed to be with my family. Yes, I have 3 who I believe are here in person. Do you have non-agenda items? Okay, so mine are non-agenda items. So first up is Chance Holsworth.
Thank you, everyone. My apologies. I started kindergarten at La Jolla in 1987. I finished at Gavilan View with Miss Johnson in 1996. I've been waiting a long time. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking. With Ms. Johnson in 1996. So I've started teaching here in 2008. So this school district has been part of my life more than it hasn't. And you know, right now, I have a daughter at New Republic. My son's at McKinnon. I walk to Gavilan View to work half the time. You know, this is my home. And Mr. Reptel, I'll apologize in advance because I'm probably going to frustrate you right now. But I want to do a thought exercise. Imagine a person threatened this school board with gun violence. The threat was determined to be non-viable due to the person not having a history of violence and they don't own a gun. And then the person walks in this boardroom. Person sits down in the front row, looks you in the eye, pulls out a backpack. While staring you in the face, reaches into that backpack. You know, I want to apologize because that's probably feels kind of tense. You know, I talked about this with other teachers. When I did, I had a backpack with me and I actually watched them flinch. And that's not a cool feeling. I don't want anyone to have that feeling. No one should feel uncomfortable like that. But please understand, that's how many of our teachers feel every single day in the classroom. In the last 18 months, I know of at least 5 threats of gun violence against staff at Gavilan View Middle School. Some were general against the staff as a whole. Some were specific against individuals. At least one of those people brought a weapon to school after making the threat. Every single student who has done this is still on campus. All but one walks into class every single day with an unsearched backpack. Each day they reach inside their backpack and a teacher holds their breath and hopes a binder comes out. And this is our reality. You know, I filled out the LCAP survey and it's kind of cool. I got to check 3 boxes. I got to check community member, I got to check parent, I got to check teacher, because I'm all these things. This is my home. I grew up 3 miles from here down San Juan Grade Road. I now live a block from here on Hoover Street. You know, I take my kids to this park to play. I'm gonna go play basketball with my daughter, probably at Gavilan View a whole lot. That's gonna be part of our normal. You know, I filled out the survey. I went through and put all the information in, and what I done and asked me if I wanted to see the results. And I said, cool, okay, let me see what's there. And it popped up this really cool word art thing. And I actually talked to the administration about this at the site rep meeting. It popped up this word art, and I was kind of startled because, you know, y'all, they do the word art where everything used to go by size, and the most important thing's in the middle, and it's the biggest. And the biggest, most important word in this whole thing was assault. Because that's become our normal in my community, in my home. When our community members think Santa Rita School District and get feedback on the LCAP report, when they think Santa Rita School District, the most prominent thought is assault. I don't want it to be that. And I understand what you're saying, that we're trying. There's no one, and I've told this to several different people. I've offered feedback a lot of different ways. I don't question anyone's intelligence, their commitment, or their work ethic, none of it. I don't question any of you guys' commitment in this district. I know how much you guys care. But when you look at what we do, and I see that assault is the most prominent thought that we have, I understand there are discipline matrices. I understand there's state laws, there's guidelines for consequences to violent actions. But I also know that how our district is choosing to interpret those is done differently in many districts. Our interpretation of those is not universal. I know this because I have so many people I know that are educators. I talk to how they handle it in their districts. I'm glad you're open to alternative solutions. We have people that are probably going to talk about a couple of them that we could try tonight. It matters, but I don't believe the Santa Rita School District's interpretation of those laws are currently making our schools safer. In fact, I think in a lot of ways they're doing the opposite. And based off of the LCAP survey results, I'm really not the only one. Thank you all for your time.
Jody Ray Lazda.
Good evening. To piggyback, I'm Jody Ray Lazda. I teach at Gavilan View as well. And we knew you would like legally, I printed out the discipline matrix with exactly that in mind, Mr. Patel. My 3 points I'd like to discuss this evening are terroristic threats against staff, students, and school, the physical school, the occurrence of frequent assaults necessitating staggered dismissal on a daily basis, and a request to form a committee to look into the establishment of an alternative education program. And by that, we do not mean ATS. ATS is not currently meeting our needs. In terms of terroristic threats, Mr. Halsworth already began to discuss. We have students who are making terroristic threats. We had one just today against a teacher, going to kill you. That is not an acceptable working condition. The student should not be back in 1 to 2 days. And per our matrix, terroristic threats under 48900.7 in Ed Code, it falls under there. And although law enforcement gets contacted, the students are back in the classroom. Often they are back in the classroom and there may be a safety plan or a safety plan being developed, but it is not being shared prior to the student's return. We can agree or disagree about the return. That's a separate issue that we could address if we form the committee or in other discussions. But I think we should be able to agree that teachers deserve to know what the safety plan is. And we may or may not agree on what it contains, but we deserve to have that discussion prior to a student being returned for something of that severity. That is not okay. It is making teachers feel unsafe. We have recently begun staggered dismissal on a daily basis. It was implemented prior to Christmas break because we had so many assaults occurring across the street, like where the paletero is after you cross Russell Road. And despite our site admin working very hard and in tandem with other staff, and it's a handful of students, and their needs are tier 3 students, even though we are using all of the things. And we're tired of being gaslit with look at the matrix. We're doing the things on the matrix. Our site admin are doing the things on the matrix. And then there are things that are on the matrix that aren't getting used. Like we don't have an alt ed program. Our needs for a handful of students exceed what we have. We don't have enough tools in our tool belt. We have tools, we are using the tools that are here. And it's really frustrating if we're doing all the level 1 interventions. We've connected the student with a positive role model. We've done reparative, we've restoratively circled, we've seat changed. We've done all those lower level community circle, referral to counseling, and we have done a wonderful job of adding the social workers. Our social worker is fabulous. We've done all those things. And then level 2, we've had the SST, we've had all of the things. They've met with parents. But if you've got the kid, we've assigned a Saturday school, whether they've attended or not, or they've lost game day. We've gone through all of this. We have exhausted the tier 1 and 2 things we are allowed to do. We have a great team. We have a wonderful restorative justice team. We have all these things. And yes, we have done a great job of adding the social workers and those resources. Then we get to tier 3, but we don't have some of these things. Like we need an alternative education program, even if it's a classroom, because we aren't as big as the high school district. We're not going to have the Mount Toro Car Lake in that capacity. But when we sat in the BB gun pellet gun meeting back in the spring, one of the needs that was articulated was we don't have a place to send them. Then we need to probably create one or include it on the campus because that would be less exclusionary. But there needs to be something else. because that's it. And there are things that meet expulsion criteria. And if we're not going to expel, we need to have something that falls in the middle there, that because this matrix isn't keeping us safe, and it's not keeping the rest of the students that are safe. Most of our kids are amazing kids. Most of our kids don't engage in these behaviors. Most of these kids have really responded to the SEL things we've put in place. They've responded to the social work and the social workers that are on campus and all of the extra things that we've done and that the district has budgeted and allocated for us, for which we are very grateful. But we should not have a teacher walking out after school today with a student, like we shouldn't be having to, and we had one this week, another one that was returning from the second terrorist threat, the same kid who's also involved, and why we have staggered release. It's a handful of kids. We don't want to exclude people. This isn't rooted in racism, and it feels like we're being gaslit. We need more tools. So we respectfully request, if it would be possible, to look into convening a committee about how we might establish and add tools to the toolbox besides expulsion and besides the ones we've already exhausted. We need something. If we're not expelling and we're not issuing 5-day, like, I don't understand how threatening to kill a teacher doesn't even merit a 5-day suspension. Thank you.
Comments?
Good evening. I won't be talking about behavior. I want to start by saying thank you for your time tonight. And I just wanted to say that Gavilan View has been my home for the last 4 years, since I was 22, my first year teaching. I've never taught anywhere else but here. I find so much value in the work that we do and the mindset that we have in the little district that can and does. However, over the past few years, I've become more and more fearful that I may have to give up on the dream that I worked so hard to actualize, as our district has drifted further and further from the pay that I see my friends and fellow educators receive. It's been long known that teachers are overworked and underpaid. My dilemma, however, at this point is that I no longer even make enough to live comfortably, despite having allowed the district to buy out my prep period this year, because the additional income is so minimal that I still do live paycheck to paycheck. Most of my money goes to rent. I no longer have the ability to save money for a rainy day or to supplement my retirement. I stress about the increase in healthcare costs and how I'll ever be able to comfortably consider starting my own family. It feels as though I'm being forced to make a decision to choose myself and my future over the kids and the profession that I love so dearly. And it devastates me regularly when I consider thinking about transitioning out of teaching. This year, I think I can speak for all teachers in the district when I say that we were incredibly hopeful that negotiations would go in our favor and that we wouldn't be forced to consider our options in other surrounding districts that pay more. Even MPUSD has gotten approved for an over 8% raise, and they're one of the lowest paying districts in the county. But as the months have progressed, I have not seen the same motivation from our district to support our teachers. And I fear that I and others may need to consider our options. I talk to my coworkers and they tell me about how they've switched to a bank that does not penalize them when they overdraft, or how they've had to remain a one-car family because they can't afford to buy another one. I know many others who have little to no safety net should something go wrong with themselves or their spouses or even their own children. We discuss ways to supplement income, tutoring, babysitting, writing grants, even door dashing, in between grading and lesson planning. It's simply not enough. I'm 26. These are supposed to be the years where I'm able to hustle and save and work towards a more stable future. And if I no longer see the ability to do so in this district, it would truly break my heart to walk away. I only hope that the district knows how hard their teachers work and how much they care. And I want to thank you again for your time and consideration tonight. Thank you.
Before we move forward, just a quick comment. I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for presenting ideas, solutions that we can work together with, you know? This is not, I don't want you to get the feeling this animosity type of situation. You know, we all serve students. You know, we all have the same bucket that we eat out of. You know, we're common. And so, you know, I hope I didn't come off a little bit angry or negative. I just get frustrated just as much as you do, you know? And so I really appreciate you coming today and voicing your concerns in person. That to me spoke volumes. I don't want to make specific comments on individual ideas, but I want to make sure I acknowledge that. Board members, any comments? Okay. Now we have comments for agendized items.
Ms. Moore will cover those.
Thank you. We have 5 comments related to the approval of safety plans.
Maybe we can read those during the safety plan one, just if they're fresh. One.
They're submitted as public comment.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We have to read them on comment.
Dear members of the board, I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation for the work and leadership your district has performed and provided in the areas of behavioral and digital threat assessment over the past 2 years. The district and its leadership staff have been leaders countywide on this issue and models for other local education agencies in the region. These proactive protocols and related tools are data-proven methods to keeping our schools, students, staff safe from possible threats and or acts of violence. Sincerely, Brett McFadden, Deputy Superintendent, Monterey County Office of Education.
It's 5, right?
I am writing to express my heartfelt appreciation and commendation for the unwavering commitment that the Santa Rita School District has demonstrated toward ensuring the safety and security of its students and staff. I learned early on as an instructor for Cal State Long Beach that the #1 priority in a school and in the safe classroom is safety, both cognitive safety as well as physical safety. When students feel safe, they perform better and are socially and emotionally healthier. It is truly heartening to witness an educational institution that places such a high priority on the well-being of its community members. It has been a pleasure and continues to be a pleasure to see collaborative measures taking place throughout the school district to enhance vigilance and maintain safety. The district safety plans, which are up for approval tonight, are a testament to the district's dedication to creating a safe and nurturing environment for all those within the Santa Rita School District. One particular aspect of the district's safety work that deserves special recognition is your commitment to training. Not only has the district taken the initiative to train its own staff in threat assessment, but the district has also extended this valuable opportunity to our MC Kimball and Associates team, partner school districts, community organizations, and local law enforcement agencies. This collaborative approach to training is a shining example of community engagement and demonstrates the district's commitment to working together with all stakeholders to enhance safety. Of the many school districts that we work with, Santa Rita ranks the highest in their efforts to maintain perishable skills training. Another aspect of the forward vision that the school leadership has in school safety is the work that is being completed with the students to provide safe schools and to provide the skills that will serve the students for the rest of their lives. It is for these reasons, and too many more to articulate in a short email, that we are very proud of all the focused effort dedicated to safety that helps to set this school district apart from others that we work with locally and nationwide. Once again, I extend my sincere gratitude to the Santa Rita School District for prioritizing the safety of its students and staff first. Your dedication to this critical aspect of education is truly commendable, and I look forward to witnessing the positive impact it will have on our community in the years to come. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Be well, be safe, and be vigilant. Mike Kimball. Good evening, board members, superintendent. My name is Alma Cervantes, Regional Director of Educational Equity and Justice with Building Healthy Communities in Monterey County. A community partner that has worked with Santa Rita in areas of capacity building around anti-bias, equity, and anti-Blackness learning session, school climate, safety, community and family engagement, and LCAP, LCFF processes. It is with such an honor that I would like to commend your efforts to ensure every student, family, and staff feels safe and belonging in your school community. There is still a lot to be done. However, your commitment to shifting practices and policies that dehumanize and punish students for behaviors that come from generational trauma is a big step to school transformation. School safety should be a holistic approach that always centers students' well-being, and we should always strive to eliminate any punitive practice and approaches and lean more towards systems that encourage positive discipline and healing. This evening, you will be approving your safety plan, which is key to student success. I encourage you as a district to continue to reflect, grow, learn, and center racial equity practices when it comes to our student safety. As a committed partner, we will support Santa Rita to continue a journey of continuous improvement for transformative, racially just, and relationship-centered education. With respect, Alma Cervantes. 2 more. To whom it may concern, I would like to acknowledge the Salinas Police Department's collaborative work with the Santa Rita School District. The Salinas Police and the Santa Rita School District continually work together to provide for school safety and the needs of our children. The Santa Rita School District has demonstrated a commitment to going above and beyond. The school district has worked closely with the Salinas Police Department and excellent private sector consultants to address proactive planning, active crisis training, and threat mitigation. Our relationship is ongoing and exemplifies the importance of good communication and collaboration. Sincerely, John Murray, Commander, Salinas Police Department, Field Operations. This is the last one. Good evening. I am writing to express my appreciation for the steps taken by the Santa Rita Union School District in recent years to center equity at the heart of school safety initiatives. Their commitment to ensuring that every student, regardless of their background, feels safe and supported within our schools is commendable, and I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge and commend the efforts put forth by your district. It is crucial that school safety goes beyond traditional security measures and encompasses a comprehensive approach that takes into account the unique needs and experiences of all students. By focusing on equity, the Santa Rita Union School District has taken significant strides toward creating a more inclusive and nurturing learning environment for every child in our community. Some key aspects that demonstrate this commitment to equity and school safety include culturally competent staff. The district's emphasis on training educators and staff in cultural competency and critical consciousness is pivotal. When educators understand and respect the diverse backgrounds and experiences of their students, it fosters an environment where every student feels valued, seen, and heard. Restorative practices. The implementation of restorative practices in addressing conflicts and disciplinary matters is an essential step. Rather than punitive measures, these practices focus on healing and reconciliation, reducing the potential for bias and discrimination. Equitable resource allocation, ensuring that resources such as counseling services, mental health support, and extracurricular activities are distributed equitably across schools and student populations helps address disparities in access to opportunities. Community engagement, engaging with parents, caregivers, and the broader community in discussions and decisions regarding school safety initiatives ensures that perspectives and concerns of all members of the community are considered. Regular equity assessments. Conducting regular assessments to identify and address disparities in discipline rates, academic achievement, and access to resources allows the district to track progress and make data-driven improvements. As you approve the school safety plans this evening, I would like to encourage the Santa Rita School Board to continue prioritizing equity in school safety policies and practices. By doing so, we can create an educational system that truly reflects the values of our community, where all students have an equal opportunity to thrive and succeed. Pastor A.L. Smith, Building Healthy Communities. Those are all the public comments.
All right, thank you. I don't think we have any comments, do we, from the board? Not necessarily, yeah? Okay, I'm gonna keep moving forward to 8.1, approval of 2022-2023 financial annual audit.
Yes. Can you hear me? We have Alex from our auditor online. If we can. So I talk about the audit report on my Friday letter. Nothing material. We do have 2 audit findings that Alex is gonna talk about. There you go.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. All right, perfect. Good evening, everyone. My name's Alex, Moss Levy Hardsheim. We gave the school the unmodified clean opinion on the audit. There's 2 findings this year. One of them an actual finding, one of them is a technical finding, per se. The actual finding was we tested 6 teachers looked at pretty much assignments, and one of the rules is if you need to have, like, if you're 20% or more of your class is EL, then English learners, you need to have a special kind of credential to be able to teach that class. And of course, one of the 6 that we tested did not have the special credential or the special designation for it. So we had to put a finding on it. There's no financial attachment to it, but we have to declare it a finding. The second finding is it's technically a finding, but it has to do with the J13 and the school closures. So technically you don't get credit for those days. And the J13 is pretty much a waiver saying that, like, due to an emergency, we had to close school and everything like that. Without an approved one, technically the way the state views it is if you don't have an approved one, those days don't count. So, but then also a caveat with the J13, the state takes their sweet time approving it. So in order to actually get the audit done in time, that's why that finding states as of the issuance of the report, the J13 is not approved yet, so thus the school is technically under the required amount of days. So then the easy way to the state can just, when they approve it, then findings corrected. So there's no technically I have to put this finding down. And one of the big things in the financial statements too that changed, as I kind of explained last year, since the pension stuff is a year behind, the last year's the pension went down because in 2021 the stock market was red hot. So thus all the PERS and STIRS investment, did really well. So that's why the pension liability went down. And then so for the 23 audit, if you think back in 22, stock market tanked. So that's why the pension liability went pretty much back up to where it was like 3 years ago. So another thing too, you notice we added the bond liability in there, and we, as also in addition to the financial audit, we did pretty much a separate kind of audit for the bond, pretty much just looking at expenditures and everything related to the bond, even though there wasn't really much, it was a couple months, but pretty much make sure it was in compliance with what was approved in the election and everything like that. Other than that, staff, the financial, Rosa and her staff did a fantastic job, made my life pretty easy. Any questions relating to the audit or the audit process in general?
So basically, there were both technical issues. One was accreditation issues, I take it credentialing, and the last one was a self-made problem created by the state.
Essentially.
They wanted to acknowledge as our blame. Yeah.
The credentialing issue is that an English learner authorization had expired and we didn't catch it. The emergency while the teacher is working on her authorization, so that's been corrected.
No other irregular findings, mathematical calculations, assumptions?
Nope.
I want to take a moment to thank Alex. Since I got to the district, he's been a great support in providing support to the district before the audit. We have different resources that we go to, and sometimes we have this one specific unique scenario that we have to figure it out, and we go to the county, we go to the state, sometimes we go to our auditor, and Alex have been very, very helpful. I believe, Alex, this is going to be your last year. Is that right?
Yep, that is the case.
We won't have
Where
Alex.
are we going, Alex?
I'm actually technically, well, moving away, essentially.
Good answer, good answer.
Not dealing with the state.
As long as you're not moving to Texas, I'm okay with it.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you to your team.
Thank you. All right.
Discussion? Board members?
Just grateful for the hard work of the business office, and Mr. Patel and I were on the board where the audits found truly terrible things. So the fact that we are no longer living in that environment is fabulous. And I will make a motion at the time.
Any other comments? All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I got a first. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
I have a second.
Ms. Lopez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Mr. Patel?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Next up is 8.2.
This is pretty much what Alex was talking about, the bond reporting. It's the first one. It's a new one. As you know, we passed the bond. It's only informational item. This is gonna go to or for approval to our bond committee in February. And no findings on this report. Nothing material on the financial or the
Yeah,
performance.
I just have one question. I know we're missing some board members for our bond committee, right?
Yes.
Does that in any way impact us? I mean, we have to actively look for them, but I'm saying, does it impact us in any way
Yes.
if we can't find them?
Yes, so I'll take the opportunity for this space to invite the community to participate and come in. Even though we already have like a parent of the community, we can have 2 parents, we can have more members. There's not a limit, and anyone in the public is welcome to come. We are missing, if I remember correctly, a business owner member, 1 senior citizen of the community, and the person who's the taxpayer, a member of it. So we're still looking for them. So if you know anyone out there that would like to participate and volunteer, that would be great. Would really
What's the
help us.
commitment? As far meetings a year?
Yeah, so there's a minimum of 1 meeting per year, but we're doing a quarterly meeting. So we're having 4 meetings per year.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's every like 3 months kind of in a way.
Correct.
And how long are the meetings typically?
So last one, it went about an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, I won't do it. But my question more was related to, I know like there's certain categories. So let's say we can't find somebody from the Salinas Taxpayer Association.
Can we substitute in?
No, but does that impact us, like if we can't find that individual?
As long as we keep reaching out and do the effort to have someone.
We can also expand out. We go local to county to regional to state to national. So as we recruit out,
Does it have to be a specific designated stakeholder, such as a business owner, or can other stakeholder groups be increased to fulfill that need? Or is it the specific representation from that stakeholder group?
Yeah.
Representation, and
Or
we
that
can,
stakeholder group?
yeah. So we're missing those 3
So
seats.
back to what he's saying though, if we don't have those, would that in any way prevent us and by not having a minimum number? Or having that designated stakeholder for that specific entity?
It doesn't affect us as long as we have, we are doing the best to get more members. And if we get, and I need to be 100% on this, but the last information that I got is that if we get like another member, let's say we go out there and do the outreach and we can't get like a senior citizen, but we have another parent, and now we have 2 parent representatives, but we still doing the outreach, that would help us.
So as long as we have a certain number and we're continuing to look.
We should be
can
okay
keep moving
because we're
forward.
doing our best,
Okay,
yes.
as long as the effort's being made and we have a certain small number that'll carry us through regardless.
The reason I ask is because I was reached out by somebody in the community, not really regarding our district, but they were kind of confused. And they were told, I don't know what district is it, that they couldn't move forward with their bond money until they filled all those positions first. And I said, I'm not going to give you any legal advice. You need to find out for yourself. But from what I understand, you don't need to have all the positions as long as you're actively looking out there for that kind of individual. So I just wanted to clarify. Yeah.
All right, that's, any other questions? It was an information item, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's informational, no
All right.
findings on the bond
We're
report.
gonna move forward with the next agenda item, if that's okay with everyone. All right, we're gonna move on to 8.3, another information item, Facilities Committee update. I'm gonna change Victor's name to Thor. You know, Hammer, he fixes things. He's gonna make it Thor. Oh,
It's a good name.
I got it. Did you get the joke?
I did. I'm buying what you're selling.
Is he online?
But the humor never hit.
Oh, no.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I can barely hear you guys. I'm sorry. I've got everything blasted. However, okay. So, good evening, everybody. I'm sorry. I just want to give you an update on the facilities committee, and well, basically, we took the opportunity to really do some work during the break. So I calculated it, 3 working weeks plus 3, I would say 3 weekends. We were able to do a lot of the replacement. I know I kind of mentioned it on my Friday letter, and I kind of added some pictures to it. So the replacement of the rotted decorative fencing at the kinder area in New Republic was completely done. We took care of some of the issues that were pending, for about a year or so. We also installed something that I'm quite excited of, installed backflow devices on the domestic water and irrigation from La Jolla. So I'm trying to clean up that whole big hut so that we could actually take it down with that water tank that's out there and kind of make it, professionally looking, and adding some maybe fencing at a later date. Also, what went well is the installation of new HVAC controls. Now, remember, this is part of the CalShape grant that Rosa was able to secure. Basically, we added CO2 sensors into each classroom through the existing EMS control system, and we had minor hiccups. We still have some units that went down, of course, so only because, the winter, it was pretty harsh, and we're actually going to be able to fix some of those units, and we replaced some of the parts just to get them going. So, that's kind of like a constant maintenance project for that. We were able to secure a double charging station for the district, for the MOT. As you know, that the trend is to go electric. And the more and more we go, it's either going to be a hybrid plug-in or a full electric. So we're kind of ready for an extra car or van if we really require it. So we're ahead of schedule on that. However, PG&E installation, I know that we were supposed to do the PG&E, a new pole and transformer over at La Jolla. However, it didn't happen. We were pretty much ghosted by PG&E solely because they were probably repairing other electrical distribution lines during, the rain. So one good news about that, though, we got a call from our electrical engineer and architect, and PG&E will be replacing the pole and the transformer at no additional cost. Just the engineering fees that we're paying. We had slated about $75,000 for that, solely because it does take a lot of money just to get PG&E to put a new transformer and stuff. So this is going to be for the upgrade of the back end of La Jolla, which kind of supplies power to the villages. I don't know if you know where all of the portables, the row of portables in the back are, which will enable us to add 3 portables this summer. So we're still slated to do that. The shade structures are pretty much complete. However, we were supposed to go back out there and kind of pick up the sleet of mud that was left behind because of all of the rain. However, we haven't been able to get back there solely because the rain has kind of taken care of that. So once the rain stops, we'll be going out there. If we need to pressure wash the asphalt, we will continue to do that and close those projects out. ADA upgrades at the restrooms at McKinnon and New Republic, they're complete. The inspector wanted us to tweak a couple of doors, so that's what we're doing now. But other than that, he's okay with everything. The gutter replacement, I don't know if you were able to visualize the roof and the gutters there when you went to Santa Rita tonight. Everybody's pretty happy with that. There's not a lot of leaks in front of the doorways, the classrooms and stuff like that. So they were all completely replaced at Santa Rita, McKinnon, and New Republic. Right now we're working on now starting the repairs on the rainwater leaders. We didn't know how many we had that were bad until we took off the gutters. Now we're looking at about 25 total within three of the sites. So we'll have those done in the next break that we get. Also, safety fencing at Santa Rita, they're pretty happy about that. And if you go out of the room adjacent to where you're at, you'll be able to see that the safety fencing, and it kind of looks good. It's forest green and it kind of resembles some kind of a bush. Kind of gives it color. I mean, it's very not noticeable, not highly noticeable, but you know, it turned out really well. Other than that, that's what we were able to squeeze in the 3 weekends and 3 weeks. Any questions?
Kind of more, I guess, comments and stuff. I know we're working on as far as letting the community know, like facility updates that we do with pictures and stuff. So I was even thinking, I mean, I want to respect capacity in a while, but maybe even when we do facilities updates, 'cause I know people look at the agenda and stuff, is if maybe even if it's a brief summary that can be posted with the agenda whenever the facilities committee gets done, so that way people also know like what's spending on the budget and stuff. Yeah, as well. I just thought about that because I was listening in and it was a lot to gather, and I was trying to remember everything that he said, because when I get asked, hey, what are you guys doing in facilities, and I thought that's me and I'm kind of engaged in it, but it's somebody from the community, from the parent. So maybe if we can, going forward as part of the facility update, is an agenda item with a brief summary. It can just be like a list, doesn't have to be a long explanation, but I'm sure that would go a long way of letting the community know and the public as well as board members, hey, this is what got worked on in the facilities as well. Yeah.
Are you considering maybe putting that on our website as well, as far as updates and showing
Yeah.
progress? And
Yeah, you send it out as well. Yeah, but also that's a good idea too. And
No, I'm just
then in
saying.
combination with our agenda item, so it'll be just like a quick informational attachment. You know, this is what it is, and it's probably he already has it because it's notes that he's probably reading too. So just to provide it, yeah. But besides that, I mean, we appreciate. I know it's a lot of stuff that comes out of facilities, not just projects, but little surprises, right, Victor, that come up.
Definitely, yeah. I know I surprised you guys several times already
Yeah.
with Division of State Architects and it, you know, kind of the legal aspects of that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I kind of discussed earlier, where there's stuff that kind of comes up, but if we just kind of tweak a little bit, it just makes that informational part about a little easier to kind of look at and stuff. So that's the only comment I had.
And KSBW will be filming facilities here, not this Friday, but the following Friday. They were supposed to film today, but it was scheduled to rain. So they'll be filming next Friday.
Okay, thank you, Victor.
I'm sorry, can you speak? I'm sorry.
Are you talking to the lady in shorts? Is that the one? By the door. By the door.
Was there a question? I'm sorry. I can. Are we good?
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Victor,
thank you.
very much for your presentation on the update on facilities. And
Thank you,
Sarah,
sir.
for being on that committee. I appreciate it. All right. All right, let's continue on. Those are facilities, 9.0, nope, 12.1, approval of plan for provision of educational services to expelled students.
This is an item that's required by the County Office of Education annually. I won't read the whole thing to you. You received a copy of it, but I will give you the gist of it. Really what this plan is asking for us is our support for students. We have a requirement to support students upon expulsion, and this plan goes through each of those. I'll give you a quick highlight from each of those areas. So the current educational opportunity alternatives for expelled students. As an elementary school district, we have within our board policy a stipulation for expulsion. So students receive that stipulated expulsion, which means they get those additional supports in order to meet the requirements of that, and we provide all of those. Identify any gaps for expelled students. We know that because oftentimes our expelled students are not getting equal access to their education, we do see that when students return from an expulsion, there are gaps in their learning as well. And so this plan talks about how we mitigate those gaps. Alternative programs that exist. Because of the size of our district and as an elementary school district, we do not have a alternative education program, nor do our neighboring elementary school districts. And so that's work with the County Office of Ed. Previously, the County Office of Ed offered a middle school alternative education program in which we were able to refer our students. Currently, they are not operating that program. So in submitting this plan, I did put in further our requests to continue to have that support from the County Office of Ed for an alternative education program to support
I
students.
apologize. Could you repeat them? What was the
Sorry.
reasoning of not having the ability to have alt ed again?
So for us, it's been, for most elementary school districts, it's been the size of the district. So in a small district, the number of expelled students. So for example, we had the largest year of expulsion was 2 years ago with 4 students. In general, we don't have a high number of expulsions, as do other neighboring small districts. So most small size districts have relied on the County Office of Ed for alternative education placement because the funding and the cost of running a program isn't efficient for the number of students who would be part of that program.
And alt ed is specifically tailored just for students get expelled, not suspended, correct?
So correct. Yes, suspended students do not go to alternative education. So there are alternative alt ed programs within the County Office of Ed that students who are not expelled can apply to. However, the program themselves are tailored and put in place to support expelled students.
Is there any, I mean, I would just love to entertain the notion of, having some type of program, or at least looking into it, of maybe having a partnership with the district, or maybe with other districts or with the county.
Yeah, that's what I've been working with the county on. So I've been working with the county and advocating for a alternative education program that supports elementary school districts, and that's supported by our other neighboring small school districts as well, who are having the same problem, who are seeing younger and younger students, but yet there's no access to resource.
I would love to explore that. I mean, I just feel so frustrated, with that community and just teachers and staff, but at least I would feel more comfortable. At least we looked into it, investigated it, checked it out, may see if it's reasonable.
And
feasible,
I've been working with the county for 2 years on it, and have been very vocal about the need on a regular basis. And
would the board entertain the idea of putting that as an agenda item as a presentation to see where we are at that?
Sure, and I think the other option, because it had to come from the Monterey County Office of Education.
so that's who currently hosts the alternative education program, in which previously our district had always been able to refer middle school students, and they no longer have a middle school program.
Okay, I guess the reason I asked that question is because if our school isn't large enough to have it, right, and the county's the only bridge behind it, I think another option might be us as a board sending a letter to their board, or maybe making a public comment, because really the more direction would be their board members giving direction to their superintendent to do it.
Ultimately, it comes down to funding. I think ultimately, if we had a consortium of the various elementary school districts, sharing the cost and having it administered by the county, the facilitation, I think that would be feasible,
Yeah.
But I guess I'm trying to figure out how would we get action on it? Would be their board directing their superintendent to do it, right? Because really you'd have the staff, right? The staff says, hey, we're trying, we're looking at it. But unless it becomes like their board priority that, hey, Santa Rita School Board, this other school board is asking you to do it, then it's like if somebody came to our school board and we felt pressure enough where we say, hey, this is a priority for us, even though the funding's not there, you guys need to prioritize, and that's kind of what we have to do.
And a little bit in advocacy for them. I think it's, and I agree with everything you said. And what happened is they had a middle school program previously. Salinas Union High School District started their own alternative education program because of their size. So many of those middle school students who previously were served at the County Office of Ed returned to district, right? And were served there. And so because we previously did not have as many middle school expulsions, they weren't able to have enough students in that program to keep the program running as well, right? So Salinas Union took back their program. Districts weren't having the level of expulsion, so they didn't have the number of students they needed to keep it going. So part of what I agree with your statement is saying back to them, continuing the idea that we're in a different place now, and we're having not just middle school students, but elementary school students, which all of our expulsions have been elementary school students who require that additional support. Yeah.
I'm okay putting it as an agenda item. I
Mhm.
just figured
Well-
to get to action, it would be.
No, I didn't want an action item, I want an informational item.
Information item, okay, yeah.
Our superintendent, I have a question for you then. Regarding contacting other superintendents of other surrounding districts and maybe, introducing that idea of coming together and, all the other districts having the same problem.
Mhm.
And any one district couldn't do it, but if we together, the superintendents of each district approach the county superintendent, I think that might light the fire, because that's their job. There's a leading, educational, authority. So I'm just saying some ideas, that, I'm not saying it'll work, but I'm saying, hey, we got to throw everything at it and let's see what works, Interesting idea.
We've had those conversations with our neighbors, on sort of a casual, have you also been asking for this? Yes,
Mhm.
we've been asking for this. So maybe it's sort of a blend of the more formal approach at this point, right? And then continuing that conversation. I mean, like, where are you at with it? What feedback are you receiving on that? Here's what we feel like we might do next, right?
And I think for the county office, an important piece of it will be kind of secured funding from a district, right? We guarantee you this amount of funding, rather we place a student or not, because they're going to have to staff that program. And I think that's been one of the challenges, is that unless a district does secured funding, like, we are going to ensure this and that provides us this level of access. But if we don't use it, you still get to keep it, because they're still going to have to fund the position, even if we don't place any students. And that leads in kind of just to this last part that I'll say is those coordinating practices between us and the County Office of Ed. I'd like to thank Brett McFadden. I've been able to do a lot of that coordination if we've had an expelled student in there. So we coordinate, try to collaborate with the alternative education program, which currently only serves 9th through 12th grade. We coordinate and collaborate with Monterey County Home Charter School, as well as Learning for Life, to place students into an independent study home-based program. And then we've also sought placement within other districts. So for our middle school students, for example, we've reached out to Salinas Union High School District. They are waitlist, so it's not that they'll turn them into an interdistrict. They will accept them into one of their alternative programs as 8th graders. So only at 8th grade, so not 6th or 7th. And then also in MPUSD last year, or year before last, when we had an expelled student, we were able to place a student in their alternative education program in MPUSD. So we've been able to kind of partner with some of those bigger districts when possible, for 8th graders.
Would you want it as an informational item?
Yeah, I would. I think, something to explore, as an idea, of additional tool, if you will, to help deal with situations at hand. Any other comments from the board members?
I think it would be worth exploring, especially just like within Salinas, talking about, or close, Alice L. Salinas Elementary District, Washington Union, Spreckles, wouldn't say to say, hey, yes, we'll pay for 20%. Can you pay for 20%? Can you pay for 20%?
Yeah.
And then, even if we had a fabulous year and we never used any of the money, to still get something off the ground, I think would be worth exploring.
Make a motion to approve.
So sorry, apologize.
It's
Can I get a
approval.
motion to approve, please? Can I get a first?
Yeah, I made a motion.
Okay, in a second.
Second.
Ms. Lopez? Aye. Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Mr. Patel?
Aye, Captain.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right. 12.2, approval of 2024-25 comprehensive school safety plans for Santa Rita, McKinnon, La Jolla, New Republic Elementary Schools, John Gutierrez, and Gavilan View Middle Schools.
Again, as required by California Education Code, plans come to the board each year. The plans that are before you are for our upcoming year, so they cover the 24-25 school year, so always a year ahead. They go from this board to the County Office of Education Board by March 1st of each year. I included in our packet, our plans have been reviewed by an outside agency to make sure that they're in compliance and all aspects of the plans were in compliance. And again, I just want to thank all of the safety partners that help coordinate and collaborate in the formation.
Comments from board members, starting from my right? No?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, have a second, please.
Second.
Ms. Lopez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Mr. Patel?
Aye, Captain.
Motion passes 4-0.
Last but not least, 12.3, here we go. Approval of 2023-24 School Accountability Report Cards, SARCs, for McKinnon, Santa Rita, La Jolla, New Republic, Gavilan Middle School, and John Gutierrez Middle School.
I have a lot of approval. I see I'm not asking for money tonight, just approvals. So again, as required, these are our school accountability report cards. They outline essential information, data from the previous school year, presented in this school year. These also will be in our school offices and available for our parents to have an overview of what's happening at each of our school sites.
These are available on the website.
Correct, they're placed on the website.
Any other comments, board members? Entertain a motion, please.
My motion.
I have a first. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Ms. Lopez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner? Aye. Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Mr. Patel?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay. All right, regarding our next regular board meeting in 2 weeks, correct? Next couple of weeks. Suggested future board items. We have one item, informational item we'd like to put regarding alt ed. Is that correct?
Yes, regarding alt ed, I also wanted to ask for a future board item regarding how we deal with public comment, both in person and online. And the reason that I'm bringing that forward, just the district that I work in, there was a letter submitted for public comment that suggested that a former staff member had done something illegal, and the letter was read into public comment. And it was not a true accusation, but now it exists it's out there in cyberspace forever. And subsequently to that being, they had not had a policy. So it was like things that were submitted to public comment were read, and it was read. And subsequently they've talked about having a policy that to like how things are vetted, because you're talking about people's freedom of speech. You could be talking about something that needed to be said. So I feel like we need to explore that in terms of how we're addressing public comment. I was present for that meeting. It was very horrifying to be there. And then also just, for instance, this evening, we had very lovely professional letters that were read. But it could be that we had 20 lovely professional letters that were read, or 100, or that kind of thing. So doing something to sort of say like, hey, we're going to name all the people that submitted letters. We're going to make them public at our website, kind of thing, just to the point that we don't end up with a meeting that's like 4 hours long because we're reading, fabulous things that were submitted for public comment. So just kind of the two aspects of them, but really just protecting our back in terms of having, yes, that we're honoring what people have submitted and needs to be acknowledged by the board, and not at the point where something is put forward to the public that's inaccurate. Or
so before we move on to a second item, do the rest of the board members feel okay with that?
Yeah, the other thing too I'd like to add is if somebody submits an online comment, because when somebody comes in person, there's a time limit. But I know there's some online comments we've had that I'm sure exceeded the time limit. So obviously there's not an equitable way, because then if I was a public comment, I'd be like, I want to send mine online, because they're going to cut me off when it's in person, right? Which
Sure.
happens in the city of
Limit.
Salinas, right? So I think we also need to set up
Word limit.
limits on being read. So if you read it the same way that we do it with anybody in person, as far as starting the clock, that we also do. Because I think there was a couple in the past, thank you for reminding me, that I'm sure exceeded what normally would have happened here in person. So that way we kind of establish it as well.
I agree with both of you. I would like to get legal counsel opinion, to address both, because it is a First Amendment issue, and so
it absolutely is a First Amendment. I know sometimes in the past we've talked about we're going to do 20 minutes per topic kind of thing, and but absolutely it needs to go to council. That's why I feel like we need to agendize it. Sure. We need to go to council. How can we make sure that we're providing people's First Amendment rights, and then not potentially libeling people, or saying things that are
reach out to
inaccurate.
council and put together an agenda item for you to go through possible legal options to reformat for the following meeting, if that works.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to bring that forward.
No? Any other item? So we have two on the plate. The one other thing I would like to ask the board is, you know, too often we make suggestions as far as agenda items and they seem to get lost in the woods, you know, if you will. Not blaming anyone, but I would just like to formalize that in terms of the agenda and making sure the previous agenda item that was asked, it shows up on the next agenda item as old business or somewhere where it is referenced again. So, you know, we can bring that up again and not lose it. Is that okay with the board to modify the agenda to include previous requested agenda items and see where it goes?
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that?
We
Yeah,
can
Ms. Boyd?
note that when we move it to the agenda, we can note that this was board
Yeah.
requested agenda item, just
I
to
would
bring it
appreciate
back
that,
in the
yeah.
notes on
And
those
actually,
items.
another idea, 'cause I know they had a similar thing come up, well, it's not gonna come up, it happens because everybody gets busy, but at the city council, is maybe, if we write down a couple and then maybe Melissa can send us an email saying, hey, as a summary version, this is kind of what it was, and what was brought up as an agenda item. How about that? Would that work? Good idea.
Okay.
I would just want to.
Any other comment?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment before we adjourn. I say thank you to the teachers that were here, that are still here, that show. Like I said, once again, Ms. Johnson, I mean, I know she's she's dear in my heart, and so many others that she went through. So thank you. You stuck around. We hear you guys, and you guys are very important. We are doing everything, like I said, voicing is very important. There's two aspects, and like I said, it takes a village to make a change. So thank you for showing up. Don't think that we are not listening, because we are, but there is, you know, steps of doing things and whatnot, and you guys are heard. But thank you to our administrative staff. I mean, they are amazing. As a parent, like I said, I had a different perspective seeing on this side. We're a small district, but we're awesome. I remember Ms. Johnson always being so, I'm a hawk. I see why she's so proud. That is a privilege to say we're a hawk. So thank you guys for that. And
I'm gonna do something. Here we go.
You gonna adjourn?
I hereby call this meeting adjourned at 8:32. I need a